morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you today?
I am well.
That is an enormous cup of, is that tea?
It's coffee. It's coffee.
Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. Had a
Excellent.
productive morning.
Well, that's always good.
Yeah.
Good morning, Phoenix.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent.
All right, let's just give people a minute or two to log on. Tanya is making another cheesecake downstairs.
Oh,
Ooh.
jealous.
Yeah, this one's for delivery though. Although I imagine that the person who I deliver it to will probably end up sharing some of it with me today. We've been, I don't know if you've ever seen on Netflix, it's a program called Zumbo's Just Desserts. It's
I
like an
love
Australian
that.
baking show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been watching that obsessively and getting inspired by all of the amazing creations that have been put up there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good morning, Jackie.
Morning, how are you? Andrew, I
very
just got
well.
your message. Thank you so much for responding. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. Just if you'd like to share with me like your proposal or a text or something that I can just, paste into an email. And then you're
Yeah.
already a member of our Facebook alumni group, right?
Yeah. So I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but I thought it would be fun. So let me kind of get my head around it and maybe find a short text or something. And I will definitely get back with you because I think it sounds like fun.
Great idea. Love
Great,
it.
thank you.
Yeah, of course. Always happy to facilitate. So, does anybody have any questions before we get going today?
Nope, I gotta go get something though. Okay.
Okay, so since Jackie is here right now, and also Brittany, I think both of you shared some sequences with me. So Brittany, yours is the one, De Paschimottanasana?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. So we'll make a start with your text, then we'll go on to have a look at Jackie's, and then if other people log on, we'll just kind of see how much we can get through, because people sent me quite a lot of stuff today. So let's have a look here. De Paschimottanasana. Traemos el pie derecho al muslo interior. Yeah, inner thigh, muslo interior. I guess that would work. I think another word might be a la entrepierna.
Oh, okay.
So your entrepierna is that sort of area on the inner thigh.
So Andrew, when I Googled entrepierna, because I always thought it was that part too, but when I looked it up on Spanish dictionary, it came up as crotch. And I don't know if that's really that's not really how you would translate it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not how I would translate it. I would just say groins, maybe would be a better translation.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the idea is that, let's have a look, inner thigh. I always like using lingui.com.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
What Lingui says to us about inner thighs. Yeah, el muslo interior, it seems to suggest here, so let's go with that for today.
Okay.
Perfect. Mantenemos una mantenemos una pierna recta, just missing an A there,
Yeah.
or
Yep.
just mantenemos la pierna recta, I think would be better.
Okay.
Now, podemos hacerlo por flexionar el pie. What are you trying to communicate here, Brittany?
Like, so keep a straight leg, and we can do this by flexing the foot.
Ah, ya. Okay. So, podemos hacerlo flexionando
Ah, okay.
el pie. Yeah, so make that into the participle. Yeah? Okay. Subimos los brazos al cielo y nos doblamos. And you could even say en Janu Shirshasana as opposed to kind of putting a full stop there.
Okay.
Good. Oops. Okay. Apoya tus manos en las not espinillas, but espinillas with a double L.
The L on my computer really doesn't work. So sometimes, like, even in my last name, I don't even put an L sometimes.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. So, en las espinillas o en los tobillos o en los pies. Now, it sounds to me a little bit odd, kind of jumping suddenly from the we form to the you singular form. I'd probably want to keep some kind of consistency there to use either the one or the other. But it's honestly, it's not like a big issue. Inhalamos y alargamos la columna. Exhalamos y nos doblamos más profundo. ¿Ya?
Mm-hmm.
Más profundo. Another thing that you could say is entramos más en la postura. If you wanted a bit of variation.
Okay.
Volvemos al centro o volvemos a neutro y cambiamos. And I think here you follow cambiar with de, cambiamos de pierna. Yeah?
Okay.
You change of leg in Spanish. Abrimos las dos piernas como un V, como vaca. Okay, why not? Flexionamos los pies. Inhalamos las manos al cielo, nos doblamos. Descansa tus manos en la tierra. En Upavista Konasana. Good. Si quieres intensificar, and I'll probably put some kind of object there. So, intensificar la postura. But yeah, maybe on its own, intensificar is fine, actually, coming to think of it. So, si quieres, and again, you need to have consistency here, puedes doblarte más profundo y traer, because this is another infinitive after puedes, right? Because you can bring the chest towards the ground. Puedes traer. So you can't make that a command. It has to be an infinitive, right?
Yep.
Okay. Respiramos. Okay. And again, it's very odd for me jumping here between second person singular and first person plural. Quieres, respiramos, nota. Yeah, so keep that consistency there. Notamos la sensación en los isquiotibiales. Ahora apretamos los cuádriceps. Y cuando soltamos. Now, this has to be subjunctive. Why? Because we're talking about a specific event after cuando. If you're using cuando, which means when, you can either talk about a very generalized rule. So when it's morning, the sun comes up. Yeah? Or when I leave the house, I always buy a coffee. So that's like a generalized rule, right? And there you use cuando plus the indicative, the normal form of the verb. But when you're talking about a specific one-off cuando, yeah, then you need to use a subjunctive. So if I said to you, Brittany, when class is finished, please send me your homework. There, I'm talking about a single event, a single occasion, and I need to use the subjunctive. So here, cuando soltemos, yeah? So apretamos los cuádriceps y cuando soltemos, Again, we can't jump to observa because it's changing person. We need to keep it in the we form. Observamos la relajación en not tus isquiotibiales, but los isquiotibiales.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Puede doblarse más profunda.
Maybe podemos.
So you're asking a question here,
like because we like squeezed the quadriceps and then we relaxed. Like, are you able to like fold deeper into the stretch?
Observamos si hay espacio para entrar un poco más en la postura. Does that make sense? So observe if there is space to enter deeper into the posture. That's kind of a nicer way of phrasing that, I think.
Okay.
Notamos, yeah? Si hay un poco, yeah, so we don't make it feminine because flexibilidad is feminine. Un poco is its own noun, basically, and it's always masculine. So, notamos si hay un poco más flexibilidad en los isquiotibiales. Okay?
Okay.
Great. Regresamos las piernas al centro. Nos inclinamos un poquito hacia atrás, so you're leaning a little backwards. Activamos los abdominales. Good. Subimos los pies, apoyamos las manos detrás de what? De los muslos, ¿no?
Yeah, just behind you.
En, detrás del cuerpo.
Yeah.
En Navasana. Si podemos, levantamos los pies más y las espinillas están paralelas o quedan, even nicer, paralelas al piso. Podemos levantar las manos al frente. You can lift the hands to the front. Why not? Alargamos la espalda. Descansamos. Okay? Descansamos is a bit of an odd word to use here. I'd probably choose to add another word like salimos y descansamos, right? So leave the posture and rest. Salimos y descansamos. Traemos las rodillas al pecho y extendemos la columna. Repetimos Navasana. So I'm not sure what extendemos la columna is. For me, a spinal extension is either a lengthening or a back bend. Whereas what I think we're doing right now is hugging the knees into the chest. Am I wrong?
Yeah, but usually like when I do that, I still I straighten up a little bit.
So okay, fine. Traemos las rodillas al pecho y extende. And I think that if you're kind of demonstrating, because I kind of have in my mind curling forwards like this, but what you're saying is really this kind of lifting of the chest, right?
Yeah.
So you could even specify that. So traemos las rodillas al pecho, subimos y abrimos el pecho y las clavículas y extendemos la columna. Because if you're following all of those steps, naturally the spine's going to extend, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Very nice. Perfect. So let's move briefly on to just a little bit of Jackie's sequence because we're not going to have time to look at all of everybody's sequences today. So this is una secuencia sentada. And Jackie says, empezamos sentadas, which is fine if you've got a room full of just ladies.
Yeah.
If it's a mixture, it would be sentados y sentadas. Let's just assume that you're working with a room of ladies for now. Sentadas en Dandasana con las piernas extendidas. Okay. Now, I've noticed you've gone for the command form, which I love. So let's make the whole thing into the command form. Empieza. Sentada en Dandasana con las piernas extendidas. Enraiza los isquiones en la tierra. Endereza la columna. Now, levando. Levando doesn't exist in Spanish.
No, llevando.
Llevando. La
Sorry.
coronilla al cielo.
Missing an L.
Or elevando.
Llevando.
La coronilla al cielo. Relaja los hombros. Flexiona los tobillos para estirar la parte posterior de las piernas. Nice. Now, simplemente quédate aquí por 3 respiraciones. Now, I don't really like using participles for a command. Yeah?
Okay.
I think it's better just to keep it as a command. Y siente. Una leve. Un leve estreñimiento en los isquiotibiales, gemelos y. I'm sorry, my screen is blocked. La parte posterior de los tobillos. Nice. Inhala, aprieta los omóplatos para abrir el pecho. Okay. And you could even say, aprieta los omóplatos hacia la columna.
Okay.
You know, just to kind of add a little bit more clarity there. Because I think that especially even in intermediate classes, people really struggle, at least in my classes, with understanding how to move their shoulder blades properly. So the more kind of guidance you can give them in that sense, the better. So, aprieta tus omóplatos hacia la columna para abrir el pecho. Ok, exhala, baja un poquito el mentón hacia el pecho para alargar la columna cervical. Nice. Inhala, siente la tierra apoyándote. That sounds like a very English phrase translated into Spanish. So I'm going to take out that verb here. Siente el apoyo
El apoyo
de la
de la
tierra.
tierra.
Yeah, feel the
Okay.
support of the earth.
Okay.
Good. Exhala, flexiona los tobillos un poquito más. Una respiración más. I love how Jackie's used al exhalar. Who can tell me what al does in this sentence?
It's like 2.
Sort of.
On,
Kind of.
upon exhale.
Yeah, upon or on. So upon your exhalation or on exhaling or when you exhale, yeah? Suelta la flexión en los tobillos. Suelta la flexión sounds a little bit odd.
Okay.
So I would just say relaja los tobillos, right? Or
So I do have a quick question for you, and I thought about this a little bit, but what I would say in English in that, because all we're really doing is sitting in Dandasana with our feet flexed, right? And so in English, I would say flex your feet.
Yeah.
But would that make sense in Spanish? Would you say flex your feet, or would you say flex your ankles? Because that's really where the movement's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, it is an ankle flexion, but I think quite often yoga teachers kind of say that indiscriminately, don't they? So
Yeah.
In fact, it doesn't matter what direction you move your ankle in, it's a flexion, funnily enough.
Yeah.
One is a plantar flexion, one is a dorsal flexion.
You're right.
So for some reason in anatomy, they don't talk about flexing and extending the ankles, they talk about plantar flexing and dorsiflexing the ankles.
Yeah.
But honestly, people will get it. Like, I think, they're only doing one thing really with their feet at the moment. So if you say suelta, just suelta los tobillos, yeah?
Okay.
I think that works just fine. Or, suelta los tobillos y microdoblar las rodillas. Puedes sacudir levemente las piernas si quieres. Nice. Who can tell me what sacudir means?
Shake.
To shake it out. Yeah, to shake something out. Good. Perfect. So we've got one last little sequence that I would like to go through today before we have a little go at teaching one another. So this is the legs wide stretch. So I'm guessing it's the seated wide-legged stretch, Helen?
Yes.
Yeah. Upavista Konasana is that, I think, in Sanskrit?
It's, yeah. Sorry, I don't know the Sanskrit for this one. But it's definitely.
No, fine. Upavista Konasana, I think. So, nos encontramos también en Dandasana. Now, también is not quite used correctly there. I think what you're trying to say is one more time, right?
Yes, because theoretically it's part of a sequence.
Nuevamente. Yeah? También means also. So if somebody else were in Dandasana, and then you wanted us also to come into Dandasana, then you would use the word también. But here we're trying to say one more time. So, nos encontramos nuevamente en Dandasana. Abrimos las piernas hacia adelante. So, since you're already in Dandasana, it sounds a little strange to me to say open the legs forwards, because our legs are already forwards. I would say hacia los lados. Yeah?
Yeah.
And if you want to leave en la tierra there, fine. Enraizamos los isquiones en la tierra, respiramos. Ponemos la mano izquierda. And instead of al, you don't put something to something else, generally. You put something on something else. So, en el interior de la pierna. Now, what's the problem here, Helen? La pierna izquierdo.
Izquierda.
Correct. Yeah, en la pierna izquierda. Very nice. Good. Okay. Giramos la pecha. What's la pecha?
The chest.
So, change the gender.
Pardon me?
Change the gender.
Pardon me?
Pecho.
El pecho.
Careful with your genders. Yeah?
El pecho. It's derecho?
No, because you're giving a direction here. Yeah, you're not talking about the right chest. You're talking about turning the chest to the right.
Hacia.
When we're talking about directions, a la derecha and a la izquierda, that's always going to be with the A ending, not with the O ending, okay? But then you've got it right here, hacia la pierna derecha, good. Enraizamos los isquiones en la tierra de nuevo, nice. So you are using de nuevo correctly there. Nos inclinamos hacia la izquierda. And then you've got the verb to slide, deslizamos, nice. La mano izquierda hacia. Now, in English, we don't say towards of, and neither do they say that in Spanish. They just say towards. Hacia la. Now, la pie, no. El pie. El pie izquierdo, masculine. Now, no necesita tocar. I understand what you're trying to say, but we have to say in Spanish, no es necesario. Yeah, no es necesario tocar el pie en esta postura. Tenemos cuidado, okay? So, what are you trying to say here? Go carefully.
Yes, go carefully. Okay, the issue is that people kind of reach for their feet and they kind of tear everything apart in their whole,
So where I would use one of these linking phrases. So, manteniendo la apertura en el pecho. Yeah? So keeping the openness in the chest.
Yes.
Entramos con cuidado. So those are the times when I do like to use participles, is when I'm talking about keeping the stability or maintaining this, or those kinds of things where we link parts of our sequence together. Estiramos la mano derecha hacia arriba y hacia la izquierda. Con cada exhalación alargamos la columna y abrimos el corazón al frente. Sentimos los dos lados o los dos costados, even better, del cuerpo. Volvemos a Dandasana. Repetimos. Nos inclinamos hacia la derecha. Deslizamos la mano derecha hacia el pie derecho. derecho, giramos la peche. Helen, what is
I
this?
know. Made up a word.
El pecho. Okay, hacia el pie
I really have to
izquierdo.
work at this so much
This
more. I
is
know.
the old Helen coming back, not the new grammatically accurate Helen. Good.
I didn't
No, but
hear
it's
it.
fine. It's fine. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Observamos. Oh, and I like your passive language here. Observamos los dos lados del cuerpo. And you could even be more specific. Y notamos el espacio que hemos creado. Note the space that we have created. Yeah?
I think that's great. I did use it again at the end, but maybe once we get there, we can come up with a different thing for that same.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Regresamos al centro en Dandasana, rotamos los hombros hacia las orejas, hacia atrás y abajo. Sentimos los lados de la columna y ya. Notamos el espacio. Notamos.
So I guess the idea here is that initially you're feeling the space on the side.
Mhm.
And I guess the instruction is, can you go inward and even feel that you've created space on both sides of your spine?
Yeah. Sentimos los dos lados de la columna y notamos cómo hemos creado espacio. So I would even say, llevamos la atención a la columna y notamos cómo hemos creado espacio en cada lado. Yeah? That sounds a little bit more tidy. Great, perfect. So I'm sorry we don't have time to go through absolutely everything today, but I wanted to split us off into pairs now. So we're going to create a few pairs, and we're going to take 5 minutes each to teach one another, okay? So find your seated sequences. Okay.
And, would you
Hello?
mind shooting this? Oh, would you mind shooting these out to us?
Sure.
These corrected ones?
Yep. I'll just do that now. Okay. So whenever you're ready,
I'm not leaving. I'm just moving around to sit
you
down.
can click on your room.
Plank to down dog. So but that's more of like standing, I guess, or getting us to standing, but
You could really read that one, to me with the corrections, if that's helpful. I wrote, so Andrew, I did like straddle pose, kind of like Helen. But if I'm talking about the postura sentada, is that how you would say? Okay.
Yeah, it's una postura sentada. That's correct.
Yeah.
Why don't you start off by teaching, Casey, because I want to hear you teach this morning and give you some feedback.
Okay. Sentamos en el suelo. Raizamos los isquiones a la tierra. Alargamos la columna. Empujamos las piernas exterior al suelo. There might be a better way to say a few of these things, but I didn't have enough time to type it. I do a lot of.
What do you mean? You're trying to, so I'm sat in Dandasana, right?
I like to say, actually, when I say it in English, I say like, pin your outer thighs down to kind of open your hips. So if you're, what I should say Oh yeah, because what I should have done is saying like spread the legs.
Okay, that would be good. So
Yeah,
how would
like
you
I'm
say spread the legs?
demonstrating. I go into having my straddle position. Okay, so sentamos en el suelo, raizamos los
Pause there for a
isquiones.
moment. Sentamos. What's missing?
Is it nos sentamos?
It has to be, right? Because
Yeah,
sentar
okay.
by
We sit
itself
ourselves.
doesn't have any object. So we need to say what we're sitting down. We're sitting ourselves down. So nos
So
sentamos, good.
Sentamos en el suelo, raizamos los isquiones a la tierra, alargamos la columna. And what I need to do is add something else there, but I have empujamos las piernas exterior al
Yeah. But we
suelo.
discussed that you needed something to open the legs. So what verb is open in Spanish?
Well, abiertamos.
Almost. It's abrimos. Abrimos.
Sorry, I'm so brain dead.
That's
Abrimos.
okay.
But is okay, and how would you say like spread open? I mean, I could just say open the legs, I guess.
To spread the legs would be abrimos las piernas. Yeah, and if you wanted to be more specific, you could say abrimos las piernas a cada lado. Yeah, to each side. Yeah? Or you could say, like Brittany did, abrimos las piernas en V. Yeah, which is a V shape.
Okay.
So any of those would do.
Empujamos las piernas exterior al suelo.
Now,
That's
exterior,
a better way to say that.
I don't think that quite works in the context that you've got there. So what you're trying to say is the outside part of the legs, right?
Yeah, I could say here are like rotate.
Well, I think that's okay, but what I want you to focus on is one thing at a time, all right? So let's first of all work out what are we talking about anatomically. We're talking about the outside part of the leg, right? The outer thigh. So what you could say is in Spanish, la parte exterior del muslo or de los muslos.
Okay.
Yeah? And that way you're talking about the outside part of the thighs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the word empujar is fine. Yeah. Empujamos la parte exterior de los muslos en la tierra. Why not? Works fine.
I always say pin, like pin down, which is kind of like a simile, I guess. But is there like a verb for pin or?
Well, there is, but remember that we can't think in English and translate into Spanish. We're going to end up with very odd sounding language sometimes. Because to pin something, people are going to be literally thinking of a pin, right? Whereas what we're trying to say is root or press, yeah?
Correct.
So empujar is a good verb, right? That's communicating to me what I'm trying to do, which is press those outer thighs into the mat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Relajamos los hombros afuera de las orejas. Alargamos el cuello. La coronilla, el cielo.
So, alargamos el cuello y, because you need a word for and in there, la coronilla al cielo. Yeah.
La cabeza arriba de los hombros.
So what are you trying to say now? Because the thing is, you're missing verbs here. What you've said is lengthen the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Great. But now you've just said head over shoulders.
So there's a lot of where I would be saying inhale, like I should be taking time to pause. But when I was taking notes, I was just thinking of all the directions.
Okay.
But when I'm in this position, I like to feel I like to see that my head is positioned. Well, what I would say is check on your alignment or
Okay.
your posture. So, and then I say, make sure your head is over your shoulders and your shoulders are over your hips.
Okay. So what you could say is observamos, because we're telling people to observe, right? And then you could talk about the position. Observamos la posición de la cabeza sobre los hombros y los hombros sobre las caderas. And that way,
arriba is like on top.
arriba means up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not really what we want in this context. We need to say encima de, on top of.
Encima de. Okay. Encima de. There's a lot of things I forgot since college.
Okay.
Okay, so los hombros están encima de las caderas.
But why don't you just make one simple sentence and say, observamos la posición de la cabeza sobre los hombros y de los hombros sobre las caderas. And that way you don't need to start using more verbs. So I think, Casey, my recommendation for you when it comes to composing your language is that I want you to simplify it, yeah? You're trying to think in English and think of all of these complex cues that you would give and then translate that into Spanish. And it's becoming very difficult to do that. So my recommendation would be stick with the model that I gave you of verb plus object plus preposition and just create little short sentences that way. And you're not going to get tied up and your students are not going to get tied up. Don't worry about pinning this and getting super technical. You can worry about that later when you've got the confidence. For now, I think it's best just to keep it easy. So, and if in English I were doing this, I would say, open the legs, root the sit bones, lean the chest forwards, lengthen the spine, breathe, exit the pose. And do you see that way? I've just got these super easy sentences. Abrimos las piernas, enraizamos los isquiones, nos inclinamos hacia adelante, alargamos la columna, respiramos, salimos de la postura. Voila, it's super easy. It's language that you can use.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'm going to give you a few more minutes to finish up, and I'm just going to check on how the other groups are doing.
Okay. Izquierda. Sobre.
Traemos el pie.
Or place. Should we say place the left foot?
Well, bring. So Andrew, I've been so overwhelmed. I didn't write mine, and since Phoenix wasn't here, we're writing something together, and we're going to cue Jani Sirsasana, and so we're starting from staff pose. And would it be appropriate to say traemos el pie izquierdo al what's the word?
Sobre el entrepierna?
Yeah.
I would probably say hacia, yeah, because you're using the verb bring. And you generally, in English, as in Spanish, you bring something towards something else, right?
Oh.
So I would say, traemos el pie derecho hacia el muslo izquierdo. Yeah, so talk about the thigh, because it's the thigh, really, that we bring it to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Muslo derecho. Okay. Oh, Andrew, also, we were wondering, since we used the first two cues from forward fold in the beginning to kind of reroot ourselves down.
Mm-hmm.
And after we rooted the sit bones down to the earth, do you think that it's best to add in the shoulders before we
For which
draw in the
posture?
legs?
For Janushasana.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
because I know some
totally up
people
to
just
you,
do
really.
that automatically to just adjust their body before they go into a fold.
Right. I mean, I often talk about the shoulders when I want to help people keep the chest open. And I find it difficult sometimes to get people to respond to the cue, open the chest. Whereas if you literally get them to lift their shoulders up to the ears, roll them down and back and join the shoulder blades, they have no option but to open the chest. And so that's my kind of thinking. But I mean, plenty of teachers would just say, abrimos el pecho. So it's up to you, really.
Okay.
So how would we say reroute? Because that
Reroute.
is there a Spanish translation?
Well, means to do something again, right?
So otra vez or nuevamente?
Yeah, I would probably use the verb volvemos a, yeah, with the infinitive. So
Okay.
volvemos a enraizar los isquiones,
Okay.
yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could use the adverb nuevamente, yeah, which means literally newly, but it means to do something again. So enraizamos nuevamente los isquiones en la tierra, and that gives the idea of rooting one more time or again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just going to check on how some of the other rooms are doing, and then we'll come back into the main room soon.
Okay.
All right, so we rerouted again. Now what's next?
Yes. So then.
Oh, here he is. Oh, hi. Yeah,
Hey,
we can't
Andrew.
seem to hear. We can only hear me.
What's that?
Can you
I
hear
can't
me?
You now,
I
Andrew.
can hear everybody. Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably Helen. Helen, it's your.
Helen, can you hear me? It doesn't seem like Helen can hear me either.
Yeah, that's what I thought because I'm not on mute. She just can't hear me at
Okay.
all.
Yeah. Oh well. You managed to get any teaching done or no?
We did Helen's stuff. I just didn't like.
I
Obviously,
can't
she
hear
couldn't really hear me doing anything.
Okay, no problem. Do you want to teach me now while Helen figures out her
Yeah,
issues?
we can do that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear us, Helen? All right, I'm just gonna start.
Yeah.
Bueno,
Okay.
empieza en
So
Dandasana.
I have myself that I can hear, I think, but I can't
Yeah.
hear you, Lydia.
Okay. Should I just?
So what am I doing wrong?
Should we mute Helen for 1 second?
Yeah.
This is so bizarre.
If I'm trying to teach.
Okay, go ahead. So we're in Dandasana.
Perfect. En Dandasana, la postura del bastón con las piernas extendidas hacia adelante. Muy bien. Si quieres, puedes usar una cobija para sentarte. Y flexiona la rodilla derecha y coloca la planta del pie derecho contra tu muslo interno. Muy bien. Alinea tu tronco con la pierna izquierda. Enraiza tus isquiones en la tierra y alarga el coxis hacia el mat. Extiende los brazos hacia adelante y rota los hombros hacia las orejas, hacia atrás y abajo. Manteniendo lo que acabas de crear, inclínate hacia adelante con el pecho abierto. Coloca tus manos en las espinillas, en los tobillos o en los pies, pero mantén los costados largos y pecho elevado. Muy bien. Pausamos aquí en Janu Sirsasana. Observa cómo se siente la postura. y centra tu atención en la respiración. Respira lentamente. Alarga tus inhalaciones y exhalaciones y siente cómo se calma tu mente y cuerpo. Con la próxima inhalación, levanta tu tronco y cambiamos las piernas. Perfecto. Alinea tu tronco con la pierna derecha. Extiende los brazos de nuevo. Rota los hombros hacia arriba, atrás y abajo. Y inclínate hacia adelante con el pecho abierto. Muy bien. Concentra en la respiración de nuevo. Observa cómo se siente la postura en este lado. Y con la próxima inhalación, volvemos a Dandasana. Entonces, juntamos las piernas de nuevo. Muy bien. Mantén tu pecho abierto y alarga la columna. Flexiona tu rodilla derecha y coloca la planta del pie derecha afuera y al lado de rodilla izquierda. Muy bien. Si es difícil mantener la columna recta con la rodilla flexionada, recomiendo usar una cobija o un bolster para levantar tu pelvis. Mantén la pierna izquierda activada. Enraiza tu muslo izquierdo y tu pie derecha en la tierra. Inhala, levanta los brazos, alarga la columna. Exhala, gira tu tronco hacia la derecha, aprieta el codo izquierdo contra la rodilla derecha y coloca la mano derecha detrás, llegando en la postura de Marichyasana sin variación. Si tienes problemas con tu columna lumbar, permita que tus caderas levanten y sigan la columna en vez de mantener fijadas en el mat. Con cada inhalación, alarga la columna un poquito más. Junta los omóplatos. Y con cada exhalación, gira tu tronco un poquito más, pero sin fuerza. Y siente un masaje para tus intestinos. Asegúrate que el giro esté en tu tronco, no en tu cuello.
Yeah, and I think there, just to interrupt you for a moment, I mean, I might be wrong, but I get the sensation it'd be better to say, asegúrate de que la torsión salga de tu, yeah,
Yes.
not el giro, pero la torsión.
La
And then
torsión.
I think the verb would be salir, yeah? To come
Okay.
out of.
Okay, can you just tell me that one more time? Sorry.
So, asegúrate que.
Yeah, according to mine,
¿Qué?
you should be able, you can hear me, can you?
I can
Yes,
hear you just fine. Yeah.
we can hear you.
I can't hear the two of you. It's me.
Asegúrate que la torsión.
Yeah, la torsión salga, to come out of, yeah? And then wherever it is that you want it to come out of, el abdomen.
Del torso, del tronco. What I wanted to say is make sure the twist is coming from the core, not from the neck.
Yeah, que salga del torso y no del cuello.
Salga del torso y no del cuello.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks
Okay.
for that.
I'm just going to end the breakout rooms now.
Yeah.
So people have got a minute to to finish. Okay, it sounds very good. One small thing, the command from apretar is aprieta.
Ah, aprieta.
Aprieta, yeah? Very good. But yeah, it was nice. I think that this slightly kind of longer holds that we do in seated postures benefits the amount of language that you use. But again, I would be a bit more selective because again, it's a long time to hold a twist for. Twists we don't tend to hold such a long time unless they're restorative. So that would be my recommendation for you. Would just be to pare down a little bit of the language or share it out between kind of one side and the other.
One and side. Yeah, that's actually what I had. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, good job.
I had a couple of questions about what I was doing. I don't.
Hello.
And I'm here. Katie.
Sorry, I missed that last part. I think my internet cut out briefly.
Okay, yeah, I had a couple of questions about one of the sitting routines that I had written down that you didn't cover.
Okay.
Can I send those questions after the class?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I'm going to share my screen one more time, and we're going to have a look at the presentation today, which is on the recorrido del cuerpo, okay? On the body scan. So let me just see if I can, okay. For some reason it doesn't want to share the presentation. Let's try again. So do you all see that recorrido del cuerpo on your screens?
Yep.
Yeah, great. So it's something that we didn't have a huge amount of time to look at during our last language course. So I thought it might be nice just to actually spend some time working on this today. The nice thing about body scan meditation is that you can use a lot of the language that we've been looking at in the meditation section, right? So what I wanted to do today was to go back to some of that language, work out which phrases were particularly helpful, and then introduce some further elements that we've not looked at yet, okay? So in terms of body scan, there are two ways that I've heard it referred to in Spanish. The first one is recorrido del cuerpo. A recorrido is literally like kind of a trip or a journey, right? So it's kind of like a journey through your body. And the escaneo corporal is the literal translation of a body scan, right? So when we come into a body scan meditation, you can really do it in any position, which is the benefit of a body scan. You can do it standing, you can do it seated, you can do it lying down. So it's very versatile. You can do it sitting in a chair as well. And so the verbs that I think that tend to be really, really useful for this meditation are the ones that you can see on this page here. So as we move the attention from one part of the body to the other, it's quite nice to have a variety of vocabulary so as to avoid sounding repetitive, right? Because if we just say focus on, focus on, focus on, focus on, focus on, it starts to sound very, very samey. So here we've got the phrases conectarse con, to connect to. And remember that these are reflexive verbs. So when they're in the we form, we need to change them a little bit. Nos conectamos con. And it's the same with concentrarse en, to focus on. Nos concentramos en. Okay? Centrar la atención en, that's not reflexive. Why? Who can tell me why that's not reflexive?
Because you've got an object that you can come up with afterward.
Correct. Yeah. So la atención is the object, right? So centramos la atención en, we already have our object, which is la atención. Good. Enfocarse en, that is reflexive. So that's going to be nos enfocamos en. Llevamos la atención a is not reflexive. Why? Because again, the object there is la atención. So llevamos la atención a. And then you've got these other verbs of noting and observing. Notamos, observamos. And there's this rather nice phrase, which is creamos conciencia de. Yeah? Creamos conciencia de, to become conscious of. So creamos conciencia de las sensaciones en el pie, for example. Create consciousness of the feelings in your foot. And then quite often we're using a body scan meditation to relax. So we could use the word liberamos tensión, liberamos la tensión. We can use the word relajar. We can use the verb soltar. Yeah? So all of those are going to be nice, nice phrases to help us with that, with the body scan. There's also a few phrases that we've had in our meditation sheet that also sound kind of nice here. The first one is siente or sentimos, depending on which version of the verb we're using. Como el cuerpo se vuelve más pesado. Who can help me with that? What do you think that might mean?
Like feel how the body returns to weight.
No, volverse means to become in Spanish. Volverse is to become. So, sentimos como el cuerpo se vuelve más pesado. What do you think that means? Feel how?
Heavy.
The body becomes heavier.
Exactly. Feel how the body becomes heavier. Yeah? Dejamos caer el peso del cuerpo sobre el mat. Now, dejar can often mean in Spanish to allow something, right? Caer is to fall, literally to fall. So, allow to fall the weight of the body in the mat. How do you think you might translate that better into English?
Well, feel your body on the mat. Feel the weight of your body on the mat in English.
It's a little bit more than that. It's more kind of allow the weight of the body to press into the mat. Yeah. So it's a phrase that's associated with relaxation. Okay. Dejamos caer el peso del cuerpo sobre el mat. Just kind of let your body kind of be heavy on the mat, basically.
Andrew,
yeah.
Can this phrase be used for individual body parts as well?
For what, sorry, Helen?
Individual body parts as well. So feel how your legs are heavy on the mat.
Yeah, why not? Dejamos caer el peso de las piernas sobre el mat, for example. Let the legs be heavy. Good. Yeah. And then the final one is permitimos que se hunda el cuerpo en el mat. Now, se hunda is a reflexive verb, hundirse. Who knows what hundirse means? I'll give you an example. El Titanic se hundió.
Sink.
To sink. Yeah. So permitimos que se hunda el cuerpo en el mat. Who can help me out with that?
Like allow the body to sink into the mat.
Exactly. Permitimos que, allow. That goes with the subjunctive. So se hunda. And you've got a nice little subjunctive there. Se hunda el cuerpo. There's your object. En el mat. Allow the body to sink into your mat. So there's just some nice phrases there. Hello?
I will often use something. I'll say, allow your body to melt into the mat. Does that translate?
Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense, or is that not translate in Spanish?
Permitimos que se derrita el cuerpo en el mat. Yeah, so that's derretirse.
And I have another question as well. In English, one can say something like breathe into your shoulders, breathe into your head. Does something like that, is that stupid sounding in Spanish, or is there a way of kind of communicating with the, I know that you don't have.
So do you remember Andrea's body scan? I have a feeling that she used the phrase there, respiramos hacia, to breathe towards, yeah?
Great.
So respiramos hacia las piernas, okay?
Yes.
Y relajamos la tensión, y soltamos la tensión, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, in the following slide, I've got a nice list of different parts of the body. So this is thanks to Jon Kabat-Zinn. Has anybody heard of Jon Kabat-Zinn before? So he's a medical professional from the United States who created a stress reduction program based on mindfulness meditation techniques. So actually he was how I came by meditation in the first place, in this kind of very Western kind of medical approach to it. But he's written a ton of like really great texts, and this one has been translated nicely into Spanish. So, and it's really here, and I'll share these slides with you later to give you an idea of where you might go in your body scan. There are some schools that teach like a particular pattern, but he says, usualmente empezamos por los dedos del pie izquierdo. So we start in the toes of the left foot, y después nos movemos a través de todo el pie. So that's a nice little phrase there. Nos movemos a través de todo el pie. What do you think that means?
Basically, we move from toe to toe.
Not just toe to toe.
Or through the whole foot.
Through the whole foot. And then he goes on to specify la planta. What's la planta?
Toe.
The sole.
La planta is the sole, yeah. El talón.
Heel.
Heel.
Good. Empeine.
Front.
Top of the foot.
Is the top of the foot. Your empeine is the top of the foot. And then he directs you to go up the left leg. Pasando por. Notice how he uses the word por, yeah? Through. You pass through. Pasamos por. El tobillo. Yeah? What's el tobillo?
The ankle.
Your ankle. Very good. Yeah? And next he talks about la canilla. Who can help me with canilla? It's not a word that we looked at. It's a word for the shin bone in Spanish. Yeah? La canilla is your shin bone. La pantorrilla, which is your what?
Your calf.
Your calf muscle. La rodilla y la rótula. So what are your rodilla and rótula?
Your knee and your kneecap.
Good, yeah. So your knee and your kneecap. Very good. So rótula is your kneecap. So what other word do we sometimes use for rótula? The anatomical word. La patella, your patella, right?
Oh, the patella.
Yeah, good. And then he says, el muslo completo en su superficie y profundidad. So the whole of your thigh in its superficie and its profundidad. What do you think that means?
The inside and the outside.
yeah, literally, superficie is kind of the superficial part, the part close to the surface of the skin. Y profundidad, kind of deep down inside it as well. Great, okay, so then he kind of repeats all of this for the other side. And then he says, desde ahí, la tensión se mueve lenta y sucesivamente a toda la parte pélvica. So, who can help me with that? La tensión se mueve.
Your attention moves
Good. Lenta.
slowly.
Slowly. Y sucesivamente.
Successively, or?
Yeah, kind of part by part, successively. A toda la parte pélvica. So the whole of the pelvis. And then he talks about those different parts of the pelvis. He talks about the nalgas, the buttocks, los genitales, the genitals. And then he goes from the zona lumbar, lower back, abdomen, y después el torso superior. Yeah? So that the upper torso, the upper part of the back, thorax, ribs, chest, heart, lungs, etc., etc. So this is a really nice pattern. If you just want to kind of lift this text to direct people, you can do that as well. And again, you can mix in those verbs. Llevamos la tensión a la parte alta de la espalda. Sentimos el tórax. Observamos las costillas. ¿Ya? Nos concentramos en el pecho. Llevamos la tensión al corazón. So if you do want to mix your verbs in there, you can mix them in as well. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And then he goes through the arms. He goes through the palms, the wrists, the forearms, the elbows, the upper part of the arms. Axilas. What are your axilas?
Your armpits.
Your armpits. Good. And then up into the neck, throat, and finish in the face and the head. So that's a nice little pattern there to follow. Any questions so far? Now, the other thing that I found that was really, really nice was a collection of sensaciones físicas que puede que notes cuando practiques el escaneo corporal. So, physical sensations that you might feel when you practice your body scan. So again, here, there's a really nice, I'm not going to go through all of them now, but we'll go through some of them. And you can look up the definitions on the dictionary as well. But it's nice to say to people, hey, what do you feel here? Hormigueo. What do you think hormigueo is?
Like a buzzing?
So an hormiga is an ant. So imagine the feeling of like ants kind of crawling on your skin. It's a kind of a tickling sensation, right? Kind of a tickling or an itching. Ardor, burning. Apretado o suelto, like a holding or a release. Yeah? Punzada o pinchazo is like a kind of a prickling kind of sensation. So there's tons of things there as well. Ligereza, lightness. Latido, beating. Temblor, trembling. Vibración, vibration. Dolor, pain. Frío, cold. Caliente or calor. Heat. Húmedo or seco is like moistness or dryness. So there's tons of things there that you might, and you could say, observamos la pierna, yeah? Observe your leg. ¿Qué sientes en tu pierna? What do you feel? De pronto sientes. Maybe you feel una vibración, vibration. De pronto sientes dolor. O temblor. O pesadez. O ligereza. Right? So you can kind of suggest the kinds of things that people might feel. Questions? Okay. He also talks about reacciones emocionales que puedes notar. So again, I actually really like a meditation teacher called Jack Cornfield. Those of you who've studied with me know that I go on about him all the time. And he actually has like a list of 101 different feelings that you might come across in your meditation. He lists them off sometimes. So this is a bit more of a short list, but it's just really nice. You can expand on it yourself. Alegría, like happiness. Sorpresa, surprise. Impaciencia, like impatience, or ganas de parar, like a desire to stop. Aburrimiento, boredom. Placer, pleasure. Tristeza, sadness. Miedo, fear. Duelo, pain. Orgullo, pride. Enfado, anger, etc., etc. So again, nice just to say, notamos tus emociones en este momento, ¿ya? O nota tus emociones, note your emotions. ¿Qué sientes en este momento? What do you feel right now? ¿Sientes vergüenza? ¿Sientes frustración? ¿Sientes miedo? ¿O sientes alegría, felicidad, orgullo? And you just give people a moment to reflect. He also talks about pensamientos que pueden ocurrir, thoughts that might happen. So again, you can say, notas los pensamientos que pasan por tu mente, ¿ya? O just notas tus pensamientos. Estás examinando el pasado. Estás planificando. Estás analizando. Comparando. Imaginando el futuro. Pensando en otras personas. Estás juzgando tu experiencia. Yeah? So again, you're just giving people this opportunity to connect with what's going on in their head. When I guide meditation, I usually start with the most kind of base level, right? I usually start with noticing physical experiences, noticing sound, noticing smell, noticing sensations in the body. But once I've gotten them to notice those things, I usually get them to start bringing the attention within. Yeah, it's what we call pratyahara in yoga, right? It's this transition from the outer world to your inner world. And at that point, I try to get people to connect with their emotion, their mood, and then maybe just to kind of recognize what's going on in their mental world as well. And I'm not trying to say to people, hey, stop thinking. No, I'm rather trying to say to people, hey, notice the state of your mind right now. Notas el estado actual de tu mente. Why? Because it's really useful for people to say, oh, actually, I've got a super active mind right now, and that's okay. It's going to make my meditation a little bit more difficult, but it's okay. And you can do that by just saying, note the thoughts you're having at the moment. And then to finish, there's this nice little bit of text about the sort of diversity and flexibility of body scans. So he says, puedes practicar escaneos corporales cortos o largos. Can be short or long. Acostado en la cama por la noche o por la mañana. So you might be lying down in bed at night or in the morning. También puedes practicarlos sentado o incluso de pie. You can practice them sitting or even standing. Hay innumerables formas creativas de introducir en tu vida el escaneo corporal u otra meditación acostada. There are many innumerable creative ways to introduce body scan into your life. And you could talk about, you could say to people, cuando estás manejando en tu carro, o en tu coche, yeah, when you're driving. Puedes practicar el escaneo. Tienes mucha tensión en tu cuerpo. ¿Ya? Sientes algún tipo de estrés. O cuando estás en la fila en el supermercado. Estás ahí apretando tu mandíbula. ¿Ya? Tienes mucha tensión en tu cara. And you can start, sort of offering people that ability to develop this mindfulness in everyday life. What's mindfulness? Plena atención. Yeah? So, podemos practicar la plena atención en cualquier momento. What does cualquier momento mean?
At any moment.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put you into a couple of groups, and I want you to make a start on developing a body scan meditation. So get people into the right position, whether that's seated or lying down or whatever you choose, and then start to set it up. So, bring your attention into your left foot. What do you feel in your toes? Move your attention to the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, the heel, and the ankle. Yeah? Relax. For example, let's just make something simple. And remember my advice not to overcomplicate things for yourselves. Yeah? Simple, short sentences. Make it easy for yourselves. Yeah, don't go thinking in English, but think in Spanish and keep it simple. Any questions before we split off into our groups?
You had said, notice the mental state, but what words did you use? I wrote down notado el estado actual de tu mente, but is that right?
Yeah, so nota, again, is it going to be the second person command, or are we using the we form? If we're using the we form, it would be notamos el estado actual de la mente. Yeah? Or notamos cómo está la mente en este momento. Right? Yeah, just keep it simple. Okay, I'm going to divide you off into groups now. I'll send you those presentations right away to the group so that you can all get using those for your homework. Okay.
So, sorry, what is the homework?
To make a body scan.
Do the whole thing, but we'll start with the group.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, whenever you're ready, you can open your room.
A laying down position.
Yeah, just in Shavasana.
In Shavasana, I would say nos tumbamos en el mat or en la colchonilla.
You said nos subamos?
Nos tumbamos.
Tumbamos.
Tumbamos or nos acostamos.
What's tumbar?
It just means to lay down on your back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one yet.
And it's reflexive, tumbar, tumbarse. Nos
Tumbarse.
tumbamos.
Yeah.
So nos tumbamos en la mat.
Okay.
And then I guess, go ahead.
Well, we could just have them acknowledge like where their mental state is.
Sure. Yeah.
Moment.
I mean, maybe we could say something like, let your, I don't know, like let your arms feel heavy. Like I will often say when I put someone in Shavasana, let your arms, fall out wide and your legs fall out long. So they're just, relaxed on the
Yeah.
mat. And then just sort of let your whole body feel heavy and then bring them maybe inside to their thoughts.
Okay. Yeah.
So, dejamos caer los brazos a tus lados. Y so I might suggest something like dejamos caer los brazos a tus lados y alargamos las piernas en el mat. Or something like that.
Yeah. I wrote it like I guess just a little just because, but vamos caer el peso de los brazos y las piernas a los lados en el mat.
Okay.
You say that?
Yeah.
Andrew, I guess. This to
Yeah.
the sides.
Dejamos caer el peso de los brazos.
Y las piernas.
Bueno, dejamos caer el peso de los brazos y las piernas en la colchoneta. I don't really see the need to start adding to the sides. I mean,
Oh, okay.
if you want to talk about the position of the arms, then maybe it would be best to do that first of all by saying, separamos los pies al ancho de la colchoneta, like to separate the feet to the width of the mat.
Mm.
Yeah, separamos los pies al ancho de las caderas o de la colchoneta.
¿Y a la anchura o la ancha?
Al ancho de.
Al ancho de.
Yeah, don't get it confused with altura, which is height.
Okay.
It's ancho.
Yeah, so let me just write that in the chat so we're not getting confused. Separamos las piernas al ancho de, and then you add whatever it is that, is it hip width? Is it mat width? Is it al ancho de las caderas? Is it al ancho de la colchoneta? You choose.
Oh, that means width. Okay.
Yeah, ancho is width. Yeah.
Okay. And now we can just have them note where they're at. I guess that's kind of for,
Yeah.
okay.
Notamos.
I was on mute.
I thought you had like something going on, so I was like, oh, she's.
But
Ah,
it's like everyone's just ignoring me. It's okay.
no, we're totally ignoring you. No, we're so not. So sorry.
Oh, I always relajamos todos los muslos, like relaxing all of the muscles, and I start with the forehead.
Okay.
Suavísima, soften the frente.
Suavizar. Yeah, suavizamos la frente.
Suavizamos.
Yeah, and be very careful not to confuse músculo with muslo. Yeah, a muslo is a thigh. Músculo is a muscle. So you need to make sure that C is in there if you're talking about relaxing your muscles.
Suavísimo. So empezamos con la frente.
Why not?
Sí. Y los ojos. And I like move all the way down through the bottom of my body.
So you start from the top and go down, as opposed
Yeah.
to the feet and go up.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just
always
reverse the
start
order that.
And I guess you go the other way though.
Okay.
My recommendation is not to use the word "y" too much. Yeah?
Yeah.
So you can say, empezamos con la frente y pasamos por los ojos, las mejillas, la boca, la quijada, el cuello, los hombros. And that way you can just list the body parts without saying y los hombros, y los antebrazos, y etc., etc., etc. Or if you wanted to do a couple and then pause people, right? So empezamos con la frente, relajamos la frente y pausamos, notamos, sentimos. Si hay una tensión en esta parte de tu cara, relaja tu cara, yeah? And then you can move on to the next part. So find kind of those strategic points in the body to pause people and to generate this sense of awareness and relaxation and letting go.
Okay.
I say at the end, release all your tension, think into the ground, something along those lines. So to release.
I'm going to pause you there for a second, Casey. And this is a prime example of where I would like you to simplify. Yeah?
So,
is it necessary to say release your tension into the ground, or can you just say release your tension?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's an example where you can avoid complicating things for yourself. Soltamos toda la tensión del cuerpo. Yeah? Release all of the tension in your body, and that's enough. Okay, I'm just going to check in with the other group and then we'll close class.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the external, well, you know what? The bird sounds is sort of nice. Like, you know, if there happened to be any, for what they could hear. Like
notice the sounds of nature?
Yeah, yeah.
Or are we getting too out there, Andrew?
No.
That's nature. I think that's a great place to start. I mean, as I say, when I'm doing a meditation, I generally get people to briefly connect with the outside world before bringing their attention within. But it depends how much time you've got, right? I mean, if you've got a 30-minute body scan, yoga nidra, then by all means, you know, nos conectamos con los sonidos de la naturaleza y notamos todos los sonidos que podemos escuchar. ¿Ya? El canto de los pájaros, ¿ya? Los perritos ladrando en la calle, etc., etc., etc.
I think that's also, I was going to say, I think that's a particularly good instruction. I don't know about any of the rest of you, but I've been in situations where it's actually a noisy, it's not an ideal situation, but you're trying to bring people to what you can. So if you just let them be aware that there's a poker game going in the other room or whatever in a community center, so that you can notice that and then bring your attention back to yourself, it's helpful.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, with yoga in general, right? We're trying to create balance in the mind, right? I mean, that's one of the main purposes set out by yoga from Patanjali. And a part of balance in the mind is not being so driven by preferences, by likes and dislikes, by sort of trying to hold on to some things while trying to push other things away. And so quite often it's a very useful exercise to meditate with something unpleasant. Yeah? because people might not like it. It might not be their ideal vision in their mind that they have of, oh, you know, meditation should just be pure relaxation. Well, it's not. It is, but it's not. It's learning not to be so buffeted by all of these different winds that blow in different directions. So yeah, it can be useful. I mean, sometimes in my meditation, those of you who've been to Flying Tree, we have traffic passing sometimes in front of the studio, yeah? Sometimes there's some kind of like construction noise going on. We're in the middle of the city. And so you have to say to people, yeah, just notice what's going on around you. And do you notice, like, do you have a relationship with the sounds that are happening? Do you find that you are resisting some of what's happening? And if you are, include that in your meditation as well. Can you be okay with that?
Andrew, how would we say notice the sounds? How would we say something like, I guess keeping it simple to like notice the sounds around you or around us?
Exactly. So I would quite like to use the word entorno, yeah, in that example. Entorno, your entorno is like your environment. So notamos todos los sonidos en tu entorno o en nuestro entorno.
¿Sonos or sonidos?
Sonidos.
Dos. Notamos todos los sonidos
en el entorno.
En el entorno. Mm-hmm. Is there an ñ?
No, let me just put that on.
Tilde on the end.
Entorno.
Okay. Yeah, and we could make it, that's really nice. And then it could actually be, you know, I'm not going to try and attempt the Spanish, but it would be those sounds that are pleasant to you, and even those sounds that are less pleasant to you. So you
notamos todos los sonidos sin preferencia. ¿Ya? Sonidos agradables, sonidos desagradables, no importa.
Sin what was that word, Andrew?
Preferencia.
Preferencia.
Yeah, sin preferencia.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all going to come out of the chat in a few moments and just close class together.
Yeah, so, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There they are.
Okay. Great. So we'll just give people a moment more to come back and join us in the main chat. Okay. Perfect. So for homework, what I would like you to do then is to complete your body scan. And it's totally up to you how long and how complex and how sort of deep you go with your body scan. A body scan can be something extremely simple that's over in 30 seconds, or it can be something that you spend 30 minutes doing. It's really up to you. You have a ton of language now that you can use with it, but my recommendation is to avoid this habit that we have of thinking in English and trying to translate into Spanish. Because more often than not, that's just going to produce garbled nonsense that's going to really, really confuse your students and send them to sleep. So instead of doing that, keep the sentences short and sweet and to the point, right? By all means, connect people with the sounds of nature. By all means, tell them not to have any preferences. But you can do that in a way that's simple and easy, yeah? Mm-hmm. And then lead people point by point through the body, whatever that means. You can just list the body points. You can pause at certain moments and tell people to reflect a little bit more. And yeah, we'll have a little go at sharing those next time.
Great.
So thank you so much for continuing to join me, everybody. I will see some of you tomorrow for philosophy. I will see some of you next week for what are we doing next week? We are going to do guiding pranayama. Oh my goodness. Well, all right. Have a lovely weekend, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.